Hello everyone, thanks for being here with me today. My name is Daniel Martins. I'll be your instructor for this equity research masterclass that begins right now. This is going to be a journey that will take us many hours to complete, but I believe it's going to be a fascinating journey as we go through content that I believe to be very interesting, very thought-provoking, all of it related to the subject of equity research. At the end of all of this, what I hope to give you are basically the tools that you need to become the best equity researcher that you can be. So I'm very excited to be part of this journey with you, and I hope that you are as well. So let's get started with a quick introduction about myself. Now, before I go through these bullet points that you see in front of you, I just want to be sure that, that I take a step back. The main idea here is that this course is the product of many years of experience on the Wall Street prep side, on my side as well as a professional, that I want to kind of pull together and offer to you as a way to enrich your learning experience. So again, it's going to be a lot about content, about hard content that we're going to be going through, but also about real world applications. And I think that this experience that I bring to the table hopefully will help to make that happen. So I have over a decade of buy side and sell side experience related to equity research. I started at Telsey Advisory in New York City and moved to FBR Capital Markets. And basically, I covered a wide range of different sectors, from network equipment, so Cisco, Juniper, to oil and gas, Schlumberger and Halliburton. So one of the things that I want to be sure that I bring to the table here for this course would be these different perspectives on different sectors and different companies and how different banks kind of cover those different sectors. In 2015, I founded DM Martins Research, which is basically my independent sell-side research shop in which I published and still do work on several sectors as well as macroeconomic analysis and portfolio strategies. Before all of this, even before Telsey and FBR, I was on the buy side, and we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between buy side and sell side. But I used to work at Ray Dalio's Bridgewater Associates, which is one of the best known hedge funds out there. And before that, I used to do finance work at a company, at General Electric. So FP&A, controllership, internal audit. And I think that is also pretty valuable for our conversations here, because not only do I bring this experience as an analyst looking from the outside in, but also I also have this experience looking at subledgers and financial statements from within the company. So hopefully we can benefit from that experience as well. On the education side, I have an MBA from New York University with an emphasis on financial instruments and markets. Now, I want to spend some time here. This is basically what I want you to do at this point, is just to start to create a mental map of what we're going to be looking at. Now, let me talk a little bit about each one of these topics that we're going to explore over the next several hours. We're going to start with an overview of equity research processes. So basically here what we're going to be looking at is just the big picture, right? So what is equity research? How does it fit into the puzzle? How do the pieces fit into the puzzle? And then we're going to dive into a little bit more of the analytical and quantitative aspect of the course, starting with section number 2, which is financial statement analysis. You might notice here that we're not talking about accounting, for example, but I believe that this section is going to be basically accounting put to the real world. So how do you use your knowledge of accounting and financial statements to analyze a company? So we're going to talk about that. And then topic number 3 is going to be probably, if I could have a favorite topic, this might be it. This is going to also be one of the most elaborate and one of the pieces of the course we're going to spend the most time on, which is investment thesis and due diligence. So here we're talking about what is a thesis, how do you come up with a buy or a sell rating on a stock, and what is the due diligence process that goes behind it. This is very important. To me, this is the bread and butter of being an equity researcher, is knowing how to put these things together and how to execute and come up with those ratings. Very excited about that. Topic number 4 is going to be writing research reports. Now, at this point, I should probably just pause and just remind you that this class is going to have a bias towards sell-side equity research. And again, we're going to talk about the differences between sell-side and buy-side. So writing research reports is going to be very specific to sell-side equity research. But make no mistake, there is going to be so much here that we're going to go through that is going to be highly relevant to buy-side analysts as well. So there's a lot for both sell-siders and buy-siders. But number 4 is going to be more for sell-siders. We're going to talk about the different types of reports. We're going to talk about how to structure them, how to write them, and we are going to have an exercise. We're going to go through an exercise of how to put together a research report that I think is going to be very interesting. Topic number 5, modeling in equity research. So just like topic number 3, that I expect to be a very elaborate and lengthy kind of topic, modeling is going to be also one of the big pieces of what we're going to be talking about. Now, if you've done anything in finance before, maybe investment banking, you're probably at least somewhat familiar with modeling and what they are, with 3-statement modeling. And that's what we're going to be talking about. But we're going to apply modeling to an equity research context. And I think that's going to be very important. How is modeling used in equity research? Lots to talk about. Very excited about that. And then topics 6 and 7, both combined, are basically valuation. But we're splitting them between relative valuation and intrinsic valuation. Now, most of you would know them as multiples and DCF. By multiples, which is section number 6, we're talking about things like PE, price to earnings. We're talking about things like EV to EBITDA and so forth. And what I want to make sure here is that we don't only look at what is a PE and how do you use it. That's very important, but we want to go deeper into why do we use them, what's under the hood. So why does a company or a stock have a high PE versus a low PE? Why would you expect it to increase or decrease? So those are very important underneath the surface kind of topics of conversation that we're going to definitely address. And then number 7, DCF, which is discounted cash flow. So this is going to be a little bit more model based, a little bit more quantitative, but also very important, basically trying to value a company, either the enterprise or the equity, on the future cash flows that that company produces. And then towards the end, we're going to shift gears a little bit and drop the quantitative aspect of the job to talk about something that I think is really important, which is soft skills. And again, there's so much to talk about that is driven by Excel, that's driven by analysis, but it can be tricky. Sometimes we can forget that there's a lot that you do at your work as an equity researcher that requires soft skills, that requires professionalism, handling stress, for example, and things of that nature. So I want to be sure that we address that. It's probably not going to be one of the longest topics or sections in the class, but I believe this is very important for us to address in detail. And then lastly, we're going to talk about job applicant resources. So this piece is going to be relevant for people that are on the outside trying to break into equity research. So this is basically the mental map. Of course, we're going to talk about everything in a lot more detail.